emotional hothouse at various times, and the week-to-week challenges we can often get caught up in. I just wanted to say a couple of quick words about this next one before we get into the next lot of games. These next lot of games you're going to see probably highlights one of the more emotional things about football that we've seen for a long time. Alex Johnson in 2012 at half-time, as Hannah's mentioned before, was probably best on ground as an 18-year-old young centre-half back. We thought at that particular point in time that Alex would be a key defender, not only a key defender for us for probably the next 12 or 15 years, but a potential All-Australian and just an absolute rock that we could build our defence around. Unbeknownst to us and of course Alex and his family, what was going to happen from there on in. It was one setback after another. Personally, I've had 2 knee reconstructions, and it was one of the toughest things of all time to come back from. I couldn't believe how hard it was. My career was done and dusted at 28. This guy's had 6. So there was one setback after another setback after another setback. I've never seen anything like it. Remember having a chat at my office one day and having a look at his knee, and I don't think I'm putting it too lightly. When football was the last thing on his mind, he had to get himself to hospital real quick. Football was pretty insignificant at that point in time. Fortunately, he had some really good medical help to help get him through. Before the round 20 game this year, you'll see some highlights coming up, but obviously of these games coming through. But we discussed for a number of weeks about Alex making his comeback. What at the start of the season probably thought unlikely started to become more likely, and he absolutely deserved his spot in the team against Collingwood. I called him in and spoke to him in the match committee room and said, "Mate, the long journey's over. You're back." I think he was quite shocked. I think he probably didn't expect it and took a time for him to settle in. I expected then to be a few hours before I'd actually talk to the media and we'd be able to get it out. For those of you that know AJ, he's got a loud voice. And within 3 minutes, I reckon not only everyone on level 2, but everyone through the whole club and everyone in Paddington knew that AJ was back playing against Collingwood. And fair enough. Shout it from the rooftops, why wouldn't you? For the players that played that game, it was probably one of the more emotional memories they've ever had, to be able to not only win against a grand final team, but to win it with a mate who's probably showed them every path that was known to man in the rehab from any type of injury. There wouldn't be a player at our club on our list now that hasn't had or been impacted by AJ's determination and resilience and leadership in the rehab area. He knows that room downstairs better than any person that's ever been there, and has done more hours than any person I've known in the rehab area. To get back and play in that game was an absolute highlight and something you should cherish forever. Football can be a cruel sport. Professional sport can be cruel. And the following week at the MCG, when he collapsed on the boundary line, I must admit my first instinct was it's given away. It wasn't until after the game actually that I found out that it was actually his good knee. It was extraordinary, heartbreaking, the whole thing, every emotion you could possibly imagine. One of the real tough things, I guess, when you get to the end of the year is looking players in the eye and telling them that it's over. And one of the really difficult things is to be able to sit down in front of this bloke and say that the journey of the Sydney Swans is over, despite all of those things that he was able to show in the leadership and areas that he was able to deliver to our football club. We've got a gift for you, AJ. We think the impact you've made on this place goes much more than just those games you played at the start of the year and that premiership that you forever hold dearly to your heart. We wish you all the very best, and that memory of playing that game against Collingwood sticks all of our hearts forever. So well done, mate, and could you please come up? We're going to present you with a gift.
Quick photo, quick photo. You mind if I couple of quick questions?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll hold the phone.
I would have put my jacket on.
AJ, I mean, the numbers are amazing. 2,136 days from that last game to running out against Collingwood. I remember speaking to you after that game, and you marked some guy called Mason Cox, who you told me he's pretty tall. He goes all right, he's hard. You had an amazing game in that comeback game.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, 202,136 days. I dreamt of that day for a long time, since the 2012 grand final. Since I did my knee, I just wanted to get back and play AFL footy, and that's why I never gave up. So, yeah, to come up against a guy like Mason Cox, you know, he obviously towered over me, and saw the way he played in that prelim. He didn't kick a goal on me, which I was pretty rapt about. But yeah, it was unbelievable, and the way that game played out, and to play in one of my best mates, Harry Cunningham's 100th, was pretty special as well.
To see you there, that shot at the siren as you're just embracing a couple of guys on the bench, at that moment when you're back and you've won. Tommy McCartan couldn't have put better icing on the cake with a miracle goal to win it. What a night.
Yeah, what a night. One of those guys was Harry Cunningham, and the other one was Dan Robinson on the bench, and it was everything I'd hoped for and more. As I said, I dreamt of that moment for a long time, and to you know, get over the line against Collingwood by 2 points or whatever it was really special.
The next week was horrible. It was. I can't imagine what it was like for you. It was painful for us. Do you ever dwell and go, "This is just unfair. It's just not fair what's happened to me"?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself, and I did for a period of time there. As Horse said, I went down the first quarter against Melbourne, and I knew it was my right knee straight away, which I've never had an issue with. So it was a hard pill to swallow, and I just thought maybe this game is just really unfair to me, and I don't know what I've done to people in my life to deserve this. But yeah, it's really disappointing. But you know, I stand here now as a 26-year-old with you know, reconstructions on both knees. But you know, I backed myself in to get back and play AFL.
Yep. And I remember seeing the footage when you ran that first lap for the first time, and guys just came out in casual gear and applauded, just a guy running a lap of a field. Are you aware of the inspirational effect? I've saw guys hugging each other as you walked up here. Are you aware of the profound effect you've had on all the success that's transpired in that time you haven't been playing?
Oh, look, probably not. Going through it, you don't realise. I mean, I'm really fortunate that the club gave me the opportunity after, you know, 5 years, you know, 1 and 2 years, kept me contracted, and 3, 4, 5 turns into, you know, 5 years pretty quickly, and they always looked after me, which I'm indebted to the club a hell of a lot for keeping me on the list. But yeah, I just wanted to have an impact on the guys, and I mean, that vision of me running a lap, me and Sam Reid joke about it. It's the only time in rehab that he's ever been booed because he overtook me. So yeah, I sort of look back now and think maybe I have had an impact on this group, and that's all I want to do. That's all I've ever wanted to do is be respected and looked up to by my peers, I suppose.
And mate, wherever the journey takes you from now, we would not have won the 2012 grand final without you. You are a premiership player and always loved by this place. That game.
Yeah, that game, it's the best day of my life, and I think it will be, you know, forever unless I win another one. But yeah, to play with these guys and play with this club, and at the age of 20 in my second year to be a premiership player was everything I'd hoped for and more. I'd thought about that as a kid, growing up in Melbourne, going to grand finals, and thinking how good would it be to be one of those guys, and to get there and do it with a bunch of boys we did was just unbelievable. So, you know, I'll always cherish this club, and you know, I'm a life member at this club. I absolutely love this footy club, and I always will.
You are one of those guys, and you will always be one of those guys. Give Alex Johnson a big round of applause.